Hi, everyone. So I'm super excited. This is the first pillar, our first foundational health pillar that I'm offering to you today. And it is on the fabulous topic of hydration. Everybody's favorite, I know. Drink more water. Nobody wants to hear that. But it's so true. Our cells are almost 80% water. Can you imagine that? 80% of our physical body is water. Why would we not want to drink water and be more hydrated? When we're hydrated, we actually have more energy, we have more fluidity in our body, we don't have as many aches and pains, and we just feel better in general. So let me ask you, how are you doing with your hydration? Do you drink water? If so, when? How often? How much? Guess how much the experts tell us we need. Are you ready? Half of your body weight. Half of your ideal body weight. So the caveat to that is if you're a very large person and you know you're not at your ideal weight, imagine what your ideal weight is and then make that your number. So I'll give you, for instance, I'm 130 pounds. So I need to drink 65 ounces of water at least every day. 65 ounces. So if you're 100 pounds, you would drink 50 ounces. If you're 200 pounds and that's your ideal weight, then you would drink 100 ounces. Now that sounds like an awful lot. I know. But here's what I want to ask you. Do you know if you have any symptoms of dehydration? If you're dehydrated, how do you know? Are you thirsty? Because if you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. I'm going to tell you that right now. But here's some other ones that you might not know. Do you feel stiff in your body? Like things feel tight and you don't really move very well? Are you constipated? Do you have a lack of energy or a lack of focus? Do you have muscle cramps? Do you have dry skin? Brittle nails, dry hair? Do you have sleep disturbances? Do you have joint pain like arthritis? Do you get headaches or do you feel dizzy? Do you have dry mouth? And when you go to the bathroom, is your urine a really dark color or does it have odor to it? All of those things can lead you to dehydration or shows that you have some dehydration going on. And most of us don't think about that. We get a headache, we take an aspirin. We think we have arthritis, so we take arthritis medicine. We don't think that drinking water or drinking fluid and having more liquid in our body is actually going to help us in that level, but it will. It absolutely will. So, what kind of sources can you use as a water-like substance? Because not everybody loves water. I'm sorry. You need to find something that works for you because it's really important to your vitality. I offer this first as our first pillar because it's a foundation. If you try to work on the other stuff, but you're still really dehydrated, you're really moving at a like suboptimal level. So it's so important. But some of the other things that you can think about are like water with something in it, like lemon. I use essential oils, because they're more potent. This one's grapefruit, but you can squirt lemon or grapefruit in your water. You can drink herbal teas. You can make juices. You can make soups that are not full of cream. They're more, vegetable broth based. You can drink coconut water. You can even use bone broths. You can even eat fruits and vegetables that have like hydrating natures to them. Like it's not the right season right now, but watermelon comes to mind. Most fruits and vegetables have a water quality to them that are going to enhance the hydration level. Even celery. Celery is a big deal right now, and there's a lot of good reason why. So even just having celery is a wonderful thing. The things that can make us feel dehydrated are heavy foods like proteins, heavy meats, obviously salty foods, heavily spiced foods, heavy fiber foods, which are really good for us, but if we don't have enough hydration, it actually makes us feel worse because our body can't break it down. And then, of course, the good old conversation around caffeine and alcohol. So those substances, even though they're liquid, dehydrate us. And so I like to think about this rule that I follow. For every cup of tea that I drink, because I'm a tea drinker, I have a cup of water. For every glass of alcohol I have the same glass of water. And I always have those two things sitting near me so that I don't forget. I found it really interesting that there's some sort of reasons why people don't drink water. I've identified actually 3 different reasons. And one of them is you're too busy and you just forget. Really common. So the suggestion that I have, or the solution I have around that, is to set it up ahead of time. Like you make a decision, I really want to drink more water the next day. Well, the next day morning comes and you start to make your coffee and your tea. What would be helpful is right near there, you would put an empty cup where you're going to put warm water, not cold, not ice, and maybe a lemon next to it so that you're going to remember, oh yeah, that's right. I want to have a cup of warm water and lemon in the morning. And again, I use my lemon oil because it's simple and it's more potent, but you can use lemon and squeeze it in the water. Really good for detoxifying the body. So that's one little simple tip. Another tip is, again, thinking ahead a little bit, is get yourself a ginormous water bottle. I fill this up first thing in the morning. I drink 2 of these a day at least. So I know that when I drink all of these, because this is about 30 ounces, that I've got at least 60 ounces in my body. So I've already drank my warm water with lemon. I already set that up. And then I pre-set up the water bottle. It's important that we think about our health and vitality first. And then how can we stick things in? How can we put things into our day? I don't know what would work for you. Maybe a cup of herbal tea in the afternoon when you're working, or maybe a cup of chamomile tea at night when you're ready to go to bed. Those are ways to get liquid in you that you're not necessarily just drinking water. The second reason, they don't really think they need to drink the water. They don't drink water and they're fine. Even if they might have had a couple of those symptoms I read earlier, they still think they're doing okay. Well, I'm going to challenge you to think that maybe you're doing okay, but you're not optimal. So optimal health and vitality is what we're after. And, this idea of habits over time that we have with Ayurveda is, it can also work against us. Because what is your habit? What is your habit that you always do? Oh, I get up and I have my cup of coffee and then I have my breakfast and then I go out in my day and I bring another cup of coffee with me and then maybe I'll get an iced tea. And that's how the day goes. But that's a habit that's not necessarily optimal. So we want to try to infuse habits that are optimal. So I don't necessarily like the idea of taking things away. I want you to add something in. The experts, it's not just me saying it. The experts all say that we need to have this in our bodies for function and for health and vitality. I'm not making it up. So it's just a matter of deciding if you're going to actually follow through and give it a try. The third biggest reason I hear about why people don't want to drink more water is they don't want to go to the bathroom more often. And if that's the case, more than likely you're drinking too much too fast and your body doesn't have the opportunity for the cells to absorb it. The better thing to do is to sip it throughout the day. Like I mentioned earlier, I have an 8-ounce cup of water in the morning while I'm drinking my tea or after or before I'm drinking my tea. And then I'll have this big water bottle with me and I'm sipping it throughout the day. And then I'll have some herbal tea and I'll sip that through the afternoon. I just always have this liquid around. And I used to know a woman that really wanted to do this, optimal drinking water. And I actually watched her drink an entire bottle of water all at once. And then her stomach blew up about 6 inches. I mean, I watched it in front of me and I thought, wow, that's just kind of amazing. Because her body bloated out and she couldn't absorb it. So that's not the best way to do it. If you have to go to the bathroom more often, I'm going to suggest that you might need to be flushing some toxins. And that's not a bad thing. And remember to look at your urine color. It needs to be clear and odorless, and then you know you're hydrated. So if it's not clear and it's not odorless, you're dehydrated. That's the clinical way that we know. So my sort of experience around this is I lived in Maryland, which is at sea level and very humid environment. And then I moved to Santa Fe, where it's at 7,000 feet and is a very dry environment. And the very first symptom I got was a headache, severe headache. And the only way to make it go away was to drink the water. And that was my indication of, wow, this is how much water I'm supposed to be having that I probably wasn't having before, and now I really have to have. So it was such an amazing way for me to learn this lesson because I needed to learn the lesson. And I would just ask you, if this is something that resonates with you. Do you really feel like, God, I could just drink a little bit more water and I'd have more energy throughout the day? Or I could just drink a little bit more water and I wouldn't get the headaches that I always get. Wouldn't that be amazing? So I want you to think about, and maybe comment, in the comments below, what ideas or what ways are you going to incorporate more water? Because if you're not drinking at least half of your body weight in ounces of liquid, you're dehydrated and you're not optimal, and then you're not vital. So there's your talk on hydration. And I hope I gave you enough tips or enough little bit of information to help motivate you to drink more water, drink more liquid, and have more consciousness around this throughout the day. So next week, I'm going to talk on the second pillar, which is nutrition, another big one. And I hope you'll come along with me. So thanks for listening. And don't forget to subscribe and follow along with the comments. I really want to hear how we're doing. Have a beautiful day.